Hey guys, so in the second tutorial we're going to be talking about ship types, a general overview of ship types. So as I spoke of before, there are three different ship types currently in the game. So we have Destroyer, represented by triangle symbol as you see here, highlighted in blue. We have a Cruiser, which is highlighted by a ship symbol with a line through it. And then we have a Battleship, which is a ship symbol with two lines through it. Now, what we're going to be going over today, the first one, is the battleships, which I think they're more forgiving than anything else, so therefore I would say the easiest class to play. Now, battleships often boast great armor superior to other classes and very large, high caliber guns that often punch through cruiser armor, and in the right situation, other battleship armor with ease. However, this strong armor and large guns comes with a price. Battleships reload much slower than other classes. They are the least accurate and are the slowest and largest ship class. This has led to many problems, most of all results in being hit more easily and being an easy target for enemy torpedoes. As an example to show all these things here, the Orion here has the large caliber guns, 343mm guns. We see how we look for the artillery. In the previous video, you can see these things comfortably. You know, if we go to a cruiser, for example, cruisers of this tier. Karlsruhe, 150mm guns. The Guasano, 152mm guns. These are double the caliber. You know, even if we go to a tier 7, let's go to a tier 7 cruiser. Okay, which is the top, well, the highest tier of like legendary tier. 203. The tier 3 battleship has got more high caliber guns than the tier 7 cruiser. This is an example to show you here. Battleships boast high caliber guns. And these guns pack one hell of a wallop when they hit a target. Okay? They tend to do very well, or they tend to over penetrate. If you look at the definition of armor piercing, if the armor is not thick enough for the shells to arm, the shells over penetrate, causing significantly less damage. These are big guns, very big, powerful guns. They'll punch right through very comfortably. So ideal for killing cruisers. Sorry. Now on to the second class to play, or the easiest class to play, or the first, depending on your view on these things. Destroyers. Destroyers are tiny ships that yet boast small but fast-firing guns and a large amount of torpedoes. So torpedoes are the main bread and butter for this thing, for these boats. They can do massive alpha strike if they hit their targets. See the damages here: 10,000. This is a low tier destroyer. 10,000 for damage. You can do plenty of damage to these things. The guns, they may be small caliber, but they fire rather quickly. For example, a Clemson gun there, 6.1 seconds, as opposed to a battleship, it's like 30 seconds. Sorry, I'll show you. It's always easier to show you. Go for Wyoming, 30 second fire, you know. Clemson, 6.1, you know. These are fast firing but small caliber guns, very small guns. So how it was 152 for the cruisers, this is 102. This is 120. That's a cruiser. Sorry. This is 105. You see, you know, they boast the smallest guns, but they're usually quick firing, and they boast a large amount of torpedoes. That's their usual bread and butter is torpedoes. You have gunboat destroyers as well, but still, for the most part, it's still going to be torpedoes that could be your bread and butter. Excuse me. So, these tiny boats boast small yet fast firing guns and a large amount of boats to deal with other ships, particularly battleships, with ease. These boats are stealthy. So we go to stealth here, go to stats. You can see 5.1. Okay, go for a cruiser. Let's go for a cruiser here. 10.9. Let's go for a battleship. 12.6. This is the same across all the tiers. The battleships are the least stealthy, cruisers are second, and then destroyers are the most stealthy of the ship types. So these ships are stealthy and use torpedoes as their main armament to sink ships. Okay. The guns are effective against other destroyers, but relatively ineffectual when targeting other classes. I say this, but you should definitely use your guns whenever you can and whenever it's safe to do so. Again, we'll be talking more about how to play each class in the further videos. This is a general overview of all three classes. So, destroyers have very small amounts of health and are easy kills if spotted for too long. This means be careful with destroyers. They're very stealthy boats, but they're stealthy for a reason. Hit points on the Wakeful, for example, 10,960. Let's go for just the British ships. That's an example for you. The Orion has a whopping 42,000, along with the consumable of healings. And you got the Navy, that's on 21,000. You see, destroyers are the lowest health pool out of all the classes. So they're very small, very low health. If they get spotted for too long and focused, they can be easily killed. So you need to watch out for that. They use their concealment, maneuverability, and speed to survive, while capitalizing on sinking less maneuverable ships with their powerful torpedoes. So you're relatively quick and agile as a destroyer. You can see 35 knots, 2.5 turning circle, you know, stuff like that. 35 knots, pretty quick, considering a battleship the slowest of the class only goes 19. The Navy be relatively fast as well, 30 knots. You see, still much faster than the cruiser, but not by much, but still much faster than the battleship. So yeah, destroyers, fast, maneuverable, low caliber guns but fast fire rate, and powerful torpedoes. Now last but certainly not least, cruisers. Cruisers are by far the hardest class to play. They boast medium-sized guns with a medium fire rate that deal a large amount of damage to all classes, but the damage is more over time rather than a single devastating salvo, like a battleship throw salvo for guns or a torpedo strike with the destroyers. So they boast damage per second, DPS, damage over time, the fire set. They can do devastating strikes, they can do strikes that just obliterate an enemy cruiser with AP, you know, you could do that sort of thing, or you could brutalize a destroyer, but it will take you more than one salvo in most cases. It will take you repetitive salvos. DPS, damage over time, damage per second, DPS, that's what you're playing for, that's the sort of class type. You're doing a lot of damage over a lot of time. So you want to try your best to stay alive. It's really important. Now, problem with staying alive though, unlike the battleship, they boast little armor. In most cases have to use cover, islands, speed, maneuverability, and even their concealment to survive and deal large amount of DPS. All about getting that DPS. Cruisers are a damage dealing class. You want to be doing damage, you want to be supporting your team, you want to be doing everything possible to win the game. Cruisers deal damage. They don't only support your team with their consumables, they deal damage. Damage over time. DPS. Okay? You don't do the single salvo that ends the game, you do DPS. No, destroyers have a better concealment than cruisers. Cruisers still need to use their concealment, cover, and all this to survive. They may have a larger hit points, but unlike the battleship, they cannot tank very much fire effectively, particularly from battleships. It usually just goes straight through the armor regardless of what they do. Now, cruisers work best at killing destroyers due to the consumables, speed, and powerful fast-firing guns that deal with them quickly while avoiding enemy torpedoes. Now, the consumables I'm mentioning here, some have later tiers, they have radar, or you can spot them from a long distance away. You can have, what I'm really talking about is sonar. See, increases the range of guaranteed acquisition, so in this particular it's 3.5 kilometers away from your ship. You can spot a destroyer through a smoke screen. Or 2.5 for torpedoes. It helps you spot the torpedoes, it helps you dodge them in time, it helps you spot the destroyer through the smoke, and it helps you capitalize on your speeds, your agility, and you can hunt them down and kill them more effectively. A prime example is German sonar, one of these traits I talked about in the previous video. So German sonar is very long, a very long range, but short duration. So you see 5 kilometers detection. You can see a smoke screen through the smoke screen for 5 kilometers. You see how destroyers get these smoke screens here? It smokes, you know, reduces the risk of being detected. It smokes up your ship. You can't see out the smoke screen, but they can't see in the smoke screen unless they use sonar or in higher tiers, radar. But we don't need to worry about radar later on. This is an early guide, so think of radar as a sonar without the use of torpedoes but longer range. That's to all the 3 classes, to be honest. So cruisers excel at DPS, destroyers excel at being stealthy hunters that can hunt down less maneuverable ships and have gunfights with other destroyers trying to minimise being spotted at all costs, trying to keep yourself alive through the fight. You can do this also stuff because you're very stealthy. You have access to do lots of stuff. You can control capture points, you can capture bases. You've got lots of tools at your disposal to win the game. Battleships have the punching firepower, the devastating strike. If you land all your shots, you can do a tremendous amount of damage. But as a battleship, you're the least accurate of all the 3 classes. So you need to watch out for that. Your reload is long, so you need to plan your shots accordingly. You need to use your armor correctly, use your heals correctly, and you'll do really well supporting you and yourself, you and your team. You do very well. So before I wrap up this video, all 3 classes have a rock paper scissors dynamic. So I'll explain this twice. I know it may seem dumb explaining it twice, but I'm going to explain it twice regardless. It's better to get it through your head, nice and so you know, 100% for next time. So, battleships excel at killing cruisers because they have that large caliber guns that can overmatch armor. Again, we'll go more into overmatch later videos, but basically it can punch through any part of the ship, no matter what the cruiser does. Okay, very powerful, very devastating, very destructive. Battleships can do a lot of damage when their shells hit. They're least accurate of the classes, but they do well at killing enemy cruisers. Cruisers, on the other hand, do well at dealing with enemy destroyers. This is due to their sonar, their speed, their maneuverability. They've got a lot of tools at their disposal. They have the sonar, some have torpedoes of their own, some have good sonar, some have planes that last a long time, they can spot ships. Lots of consumables, lots of tools to fight destroyers, so you can kill destroyers comfortably in a cruiser. And destroyers, very squishy targets, very high concealment, very powerful torpedoes, very good at killing less maneuverable ships, like the battleships. These ships are ideal at killing battleships. Battleships are better at killing cruisers, and cruisers are better at killing destroyers. So that's the rock, paper, scissors dynamic that we have from the 3 classes. So that's all you need to worry about for now. Hope this helps you for now. In next video, we'll be discussing other tactics and other situations. So yeah, I hope this helps you guys out, and bye for now.